Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Days after Bahujan Samaj Party leader K. Armstrong was killed in Chennai, a Naam NTK functionary was hacked to death by unknown persons in Tamil Nadu's Madurai district today. Naam NTK is a small party. It's a regional party. It's a Tamil nationalist party. The victim here, Balasubramanian, was 48 years old. He was a resident of Sellur, and he was the NTK's deputy secretary for Madurai. Madurai North Assembly constituency. The police said, also had 3 murder cases pending against him. Now, NTK's chief coordinator Seeman has condemned the murder and questioned the law and order situation in the state. Meanwhile, Madurai City Police Commissioner J. Loganathan has inspected the spot, and he has formed 3 special teams to track the suspects. Now, this comes days after K. Armstrong, the Tamil Nadu state unit president of the Bahujan Samaj Party, was brutally murdered. This happened on the 5th of July near Perambur in Chennai. And Mr. Armstrong was attacked by a gang of 6 people while chatting with friends and supporters near his residence. Meanwhile, Tamil Nadu opposition has hit out at the ruling DMK over the brazen attack, saying that killing is evident of the decline in law and order situation in the state. Now, what explains the spate of political murders or revenge crimes in Tamil Nadu? Is there an outgoing or an ongoing churn in Tamil Nadu's politics where new forms of political assertion are visible? And is the state government run by DMK that has had successes both in Lok Sabha and Assembly polls doing enough to maintain law and order? That is what we ask tonight. Joining me now is a group of experts: Lakshmi Ramachandran, spokesperson of the Congress Party; Madhuvanti, executive member, BJP Tamil Nadu. She's also an actor. Kovai Satyan, spokesperson of AIDMK, and Sumant Raman, political analyst. Thank you for joining me. Starting with you, Sumant, the Tamil Nadu today also reshuffled a lot of its bureaucrats, naming Dheeraj Kumar as its home secretary, and he replaces P. Amuda, who's seen as a very celebrated bureaucrat. And we also saw the police spring into action after the Armstrong murder. Still, many would say, and I believe that, Tamil Nadu government is not really doing enough to prevent such crimes, although proactive response is not an excuse for good governance. Why do you think that the DMK government is in some ways failing to send out a message or a reassurance of safety to its people, because gang wars seem to be happening and this government is not able to control that?
Yeah, I think fundamentally there is a problem with the intelligence gathering. And I think that this is what, normally if the police intelligence network is good, it directly reflects on a good or better law and order being maintained, because many of these attacks get prevented, or at the very least the scale of these operations are minimized. So I think that there is a problem with the intelligence gathering mechanism. The second and very important issue that we are seeing here is that, one, there are these gang wars which are going on. You spoke about the police having sprung into action after Armstrong's murder. They sprung into action with an encounter which is now being questioned. So I think that there is a serious issue in terms of the chain of command and the police ensuring that, normally Tamil Nadu is a very safe state. And, I know that there will be people who now start comparing with other states in India, saying, does it not happen in UP or Bihar or whatever? But we are looking at comparing it with ourselves, how Tamil Nadu was earlier. And the point is, there needs to be a clear message from the chief minister, who actually is also the home minister. He holds the police portfolio. So he should, send a clear message that there will be zero tolerance for violent crime. Now, has such a message been sent out? Maybe in the last few days we've seen a reshuffle in the top of the police force, though not necessarily at the either the intelligence or the Director General of Police. They have been left untouched at the moment.
Right.
The Home Secretary, who's actually a good officer, she has been shuttered out, maybe being made the fall guy in this entire thing. But clearly, I think the buck goes higher up. The Hooch tragedy again saw the local SP being suspended, the local collector being transferred,
right.
But it never went up to the political level. For instance, the minister who is in charge of the department is still very much in his job. So I think that there needs to be a signal sent out to the state police that there will be zero tolerance for violent crime. Okay. The police, mind you, have been, acting fairly violent with the prisoners. So, for instance, there have been numerous custodial deaths.
Right.
So, while crime increases on one hand, custodial deaths are also increasing on the other hand.
That's a very important point. Let me also go across to my reporter, Sam Daniel, who's been reporting on this. Sam, tell us, what is the police thinking now, and what is the update that we have with regard to this murder that has happened in Madurai?
Vasudha, no arrest yet, but police rule out that it's a case of political murder. They say this political functionary belonging to Naam NTK, who was killed during his morning walk, had some property or family issues, property-related family issues. There was personal or previous enmity, and that they suspect could have been the motive behind his killing. Besides that, they also say he is a history sheeter involved in at least 4 murder cases and under the police watch list. And they rule out it's a case of political murder, but certainly coming close to the killing of Armstrong in Chennai,
right.
Another political functionary being killed. In a sense, this sends a kind of a worrying signal in terms of public safety, in terms of gangsters gaining strength or control. And it's in this context today's transfer, including the transfer of Home Secretary Mrs. Amuda, has become very important. And we'll have to wait and watch what investigation would further reveal. But in terms of challenge in this case, police say the spot where this man was murdered did not have any CCTV cameras in the vicinity.
Right.
So it's going to be that much challenging for them to pinpoint who actually committed this particular crime. But police say technically they call these as stray incidents which could happen anywhere, and they say this should not really dent public confidence in law and order, and to call this, they say, as a sign of declining law and order could be an exaggeration, as they call it. But the signs you see, the police commissioner being transferred, today the Home Secretary being transferred, at least some strong signal being sent from the government side.
Thank you, Sam Daniel, for joining us with those details. Let me ask this question to Madhuvanti. You know, your party has mounted a sharp attack on the DMK, but you also saw that the DMK seems to be saying that, you know, we are taking the steps that need to be taken. But clearly, the spate of instances of violence also continue. But like Mr. Sumant Raman was also saying, that DMK is also quick to point out that crime records of other BJP-ruled states may be doing even worse. How do you see this whataboutery when it comes to political crimes?
Good evening to you and to my fellow panelists here. I do not want to sit here and comment about other states. I mean, it is not right. I completely agree with Mr. Sumant Raman when he says it's absolutely bizarre when you are pointed out at the law and order in your own state. You don't turn around and point fingers and say, so what about Uttar Pradesh? So what about Bihar? We are all aware that for many, many years, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar have had solid crime rates. And those things are reducing only now. Now, having said that, for many, many years, Tamil Nadu has always been considered one of the best as far as law and order is concerned. And the police force of Tamil Nadu has always been looked up to. So in 15 days, when you have 3 killings and 1 person fighting for life in a hospital, and you have these killings happening in broad daylight, in very civil environments. This is not some killing that happened somewhere in some highway off some road in the middle of the night. A man was going for a morning walk and he was hacked to death. Mr. Armstrong was hacked to death outside his own house. Now, these are things that are causing a lot of concern for the people of Tamil Nadu. Now, as a citizen, I am asking a question to my chief minister and to the police force of my state. Am I safe? Am I living in a safe haven? Is this the Amaidi Punga, as they call it? I would like to know. In 15 days, you cannot have such strong cases of murder in a state that once used to have law and order under perfect control.
Right.
Definitely under the rule of Madam J. Jayalalitha, we have not seen this many cases.
Yes.
So when the case increases, you definitely have to question the government. that is ruling, right?
Right.
Instead
Absolutely.
of pointing fingers at the states next door or the states up in the north or the
Lakshmi,
states
would
in
you
the
like to
east or the
respond to
west.
that? She's making a very critical point. The Tamil Nadu, at least under Jayalalitha, was known for its law and order. But we did request the DMK to join us on this debate, but they sort of declined the request that we made. What do you think, ma'am? Because, at the end of the day, Madhuvanti is also saying that this is asking the Chief Minister to ensure safety for all citizens.
Good evening. So the recent incidents do drive home the fact that there is some tightening of law and order required, especially the intelligence has to be strengthened up. There's no doubt about that. But after these incidents, the measures that the police have taken, that needs to be noted too, that needs to be acknowledged too. After the BSP chief's murder incident, the assassins were nabbed 3 hours after the incident, and also in the case of Hooch tragedy in Kallakurichi, we are seeing that the entire district administration has been revamped, and the new administration, the police have been after the entire network. They have the production and the distribution network has been completely dismantled. Step by step in that district is what we are seeing. So these steps also need to be acknowledged. And another thing that we have to note is there is transparency in all law and order issues. You don't see hesitancy in filing FIRs, or you don't see things being buried under the carpet. There is people are watching, there are news agencies reporting, opposition parties are talking about it, which is, very important in a healthy democracy.
Right.
Yes, like everybody else, there is no doubt that things need further tightening. But let us give it to them when they have taken steps.
Well, let me ask this question to Kovai Satyan. You are the main opposition party in Tamil Nadu, and people here, at least two panelists, talked about law and order under J. Jayalalitha. But, I was also looking at the history of political crimes in Chennai. Why would you say that political murders have increased under DMK?
Our leader, Ruchi Talavi Amma, gave a free hand to the police. They have to act according to the books of the law, and no political interference were allowed. And she acted with an iron hand. Whenever there is a news on political interference in any police affairs, they were terminated. So even the political affiliates, party who have political affiliation, individuals stayed away from the police station. But what's happening in this present DMK regime is, the law protectors, the rulers, are the lawbreakers. That's why MK Stalin, who hits the home, he has replaced the name law and order. He removed the and said it's a lawless order. That's a direction to the police. They are made puppets in the hands of the DMK run by MK Stalin. It is the incompetence of MK Stalin which is costing heavily for Tamil Nadu and the people of Tamil Nadu. We have seen political assassination in communist ruled states as political rivalry. But that is springing in Tamil Nadu right now.
Okay.
Since it's the national channel, let me tell you to what extent they have gone. This is a tweet from a journalist, a national TV journalist in Tamil Nadu. She tweeted 5 days ago. From friendly advisories on how to frame the Armstrong issue to calls asking why multiple AIADMK or BJP reactions were being played on their channel. The PEN team has actively telling journalists not to show the government in poor light.
Right.
Now I have their ally here on the debate saying that the government and their actions are transparent. Isn't it a laughable stock? The person who surrendered, that iron woman who killed Mr. Armstrong, was encountered in a broad daylight, citing that he tried to escape.
That's a very important point. Lakshmi, would you like to respond to that? Because, while there is transparency, the spate of incidents don't really stop. And I was looking at Tirumavallavan's interview in The Hindu, and he also says that there is not enough that has been done, especially to curb Dalit atrocities. And this was with regard to Armstrong's murder. So clearly, there is a lot that your ally needs to do in the state, isn't it?
See, Satyan mentioned about the killing of one of the suspects. one of the assassins who was nabbed by the police. Congress does not stand by such encounter killings, but at the same time we do not know the circumstances in which this particular incident happened. So we have to wait for the investigation to happen. There is no way we can do a media trial of what happened and look at videos that are being circulated on social media and come to a conclusion on all these issues. So
okay,
let us wait. I think
yes.
the cases have been filed. We have to wait for the investigation to happen.
Okay.
And before that, making a judgment.
Madhavanti, would you like to respond to that? Because she's saying that while a lot needs to change, the fact that the police has been proactive also needs to be noted. But clearly,
a quick question to Lakshmi, ma'am. She says that they don't approve of this, but a media trial can't happen. But it is their own leader, Mr. Karti Chidambaram, who clearly tweeted saying this is contract killing in uniform. Now, is the Congress going to deny that Karti Chidambaram doesn't belong to the Congress and we refute his statement? Is that what they're going to say?
But Lakshmi, to be fair, even Rahul Gandhi has tweeted, and he was one of the few people who tweeted against this, saying that, this needs to be brought into the attention of the Chief Minister. So that is something that your party has also been demanding, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, nobody is going to justify a killing of that kind, extrajudicial killing of that kind. Yes, I mean, investigation has to happen, and I'm not saying anything different from whatever Mr. Karti Chidambaram has tweeted.
Okay, let me bring in Sumant Raman here. Sumant Raman, how do you see DMK sort of like, in some ways losing its moral, the kind of influence that it had, because it did so well in 2019, of course, in 2024 as well, and of course, the assembly elections that happened. So there is clear political dominance. It offers probably the most powerful counter narrative to the BJP, at least in the south of India. But clearly, when it comes to the Hooch tragedy or when it comes to these murders that are taking place, the party is on the back foot, and there seems to be no defense. You look at this debate, there's no DMK spokesperson. We reached out to them. They don't even want to take part in this debate. So clearly, there is something that the party needs to be doing right on this front, isn't it?
No, I think that there is a tremendous amount of anti-incumbency in the state. But the BJP is the DMK's trump card, because they don't want, at least its state party president is determined to ensure that whatever the DMK does, that they will continue to dominate as far as the political scene is concerned by splitting the opposition. So even this occasion, whether you take the Lok Sabha elections, the vote share of the DMK dropped by 6% between 2019 and 24. Very, very significant. 2019, mind you, they were not in power. They've come to power now, 6% anti-incumbency against them. So they are in trouble as far as 2026 is concerned. But sadly, the BJP is doing whatever it can to ensure that the DMK continues to be politically dominant by splitting, ensuring that the opposition remains split.
Right. Satyan, how do you respond to this? Kovai Satyan, would you like to, how do you see this sort of like, playing to your political advantage in the coming future?
No, there is a series of lapses that will happen in any government, but what's happening here is blunders. Even repeated incidences have not been able to get the attention of the Chief Minister, who heads the home. 67 people lost their lives in Kalakuruchi because of the Hooch and illicit liquor tragedy. In less than 10 days' time, there were 11 who got admitted from the nearby district called Villapur. There is a severe breakdown of the government machinery, and definitely there is a severe breakdown of the law and order in the state of Tamil Nadu. Imagine the plight of a person who has got political affiliation. Mr. Armstrong was a state leader. Today, the Naam NTK is an office bearer, and 2 of our party cadres. In the last 25 days, there are 4 people who are related to political parties are murdered in broad daylight in Tamil Nadu. This clearly shows the priority of this government. If such were to be the case for office bearers of a political party, imagine the plight of a common man. It is more worrisome. 3 people are burned to death and police are clueless. Deaths are happening every 3 to 4 hours in Tamil Nadu. That's the data. And police are clueless because they are not empowered to act. And everywhere there is a DMK member or DMK Neta affiliation that is propping up, and they remain silent. They don't have a free hand to act. It clearly indicates that in every quarter, DMK government has failed in totality. The allies who are supposed to question, because they too represent the people of Tamil Nadu, are not being able to do so because they want to play the chamcha role with their DMK.
Okay.
This is clearly evident. The incompetence of Mr. Stalin is costing the state the lives of the people in a big way.
Okay, I'll just come to you for closing remarks. Madhuvanti, would you like to...
He still remains a mute spectator.
Yes, and I think there is also an interesting thing which I would want Madhuvanti and both Lakshmi to also respond to this. You know, both Naam Kachchi and BSP are seen as smaller parties. Is there a sense of political assertion when it comes to Tamil Nadu? Is there a sense of political churn that's going on? Because, you know, these are... I was reading about Armstrong after he died, and he seemed to be quite a... he seemed to at least have some base in that area. So, Madhuvanti, what do you think of these recent crimes? Is there a pattern to that?
It is very clear. Am I heard? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. My point is very clear. I am not talking about subservience in politics or whether this is a small party or a big party. This is a loss of a life. Any life counts. And if a person who is a state president of a party is going to be hacked to death outside his own residence, then what is the guarantee of life for a common citizen in this state? This is my singular question. And last year, 22 deaths happened because of the same huge tragedy. What did the DMK government do? They said we are going to bring in the CBCID and then we are going to have weekly sessions. We are going to take law and order into our hands. We are going to bring in an iron fist and we are going to control it. Within a year, you have 70 plus deaths. And we still have the poor allies who are here on the debate saying, no, they have taken law into their hands. Everything is transparent. We are working on it. I mean, this is not work in progress, ma'am. They're not building a bridge. This is about curtailing law and order situation in a state. I don't see anything happening towards that effect. And everybody wants to cover up everything.
Okay, Lakshmi,
and nobody wants to actually talk.
Yes, would you respond to that? Because, you know, Rahul Gandhi started his Bharat Jodo Yatra from Kanyakumari. We see these videos of sweet shops and, you know, so much him cooking in Tamil Nadu. So clearly this is a state that's very close to his heart. Would he or would the party be sort of like, you know, would you have it in you to actually tell the DMK that there needs to be something that needs to be corrected very urgently?
So the TNCC president has released a list of history sheeters and rowdies that have been inducted into BJP Tamil Nadu. So Satyan talked about a nexus between politicians and criminals. Even in the murder of the BSP chief, there is talks in certain quarters that the assassins are connected to another financial institution that was, recently was caught in a corruption case and which is alleged to have connections with the BJP Tamil Nadu leadership.
Okay. So, did you have a quick point to make before I go to Sumant Raman for the last word? Mr. Satyan?
Our party stand is clear. We are not saying take actions looking at which party is involved in the crime. You want to blame Arudra scam and BJP members are involved behind Armstrong, please go ahead and make it. And we also say the same. If you feel so, if we have evidence, strong evidence, go ahead and punish them. Even if there to be any member from our party were involved in such crime activities, please go and take action.
Okay.
That is what expected as per the books of law.
Okay, fair enough. Sumant Raman, I'm sorry, I'm running out of time. I really need the last word from Dr. Raman. Sir, also this whole alliance between DMK and VCK, and like people in the panel also pointed out, how is it looking for DMK when it comes to its alliance? It is a dominant party there, but clearly questions are being asked.
No, I don't see the alliance partners making much noise. You saw Lakshmi desperately trying to defend, and being wishy-washy about what is really a fairly serious, deterioration in the law and order situation in the state. But look, at the end of the day, it's not the, the VCK or the Congress or the others that are propping up the DMK government. It's the BJP state president. Everybody knows that. So as long as the BJP state president is sort of, doing his utmost to ensure that the DMK has a free run, it's going to be very difficult for the opposition parties in the state because there is no unity among them.
Okay, that's a very important point. Thank you all of you for joining me on this debate. The DMK has registered 2 emphatic victories in the Lok Sabha elections in 2019 and 2024, which also makes it all the more important for the party to be vigilant on matters such as law and order. These incidents of violence are also bursting a bubble, breaking a myth that states with best social indicators are also often the best governed, for which, of course, the DMK has to walk the talk. Thank you for watching NDTV.